Hello YouTube and welcome to Napoleon Total War, doing another video on this. I've got an interesting battle here for you because, well, I'm playing as the French, my ally is playing as Prussians. This is Galician Ria, I believe. You can see there's lots of buildings around the map. It's quite hilly, it's got nice little bits of trees and stuff. It's an interesting map. Some say it's a camper's heaven. And I think in this battle I prove exactly why it is not, as well as why sometimes people who cheat just ain't very good, because my opponent over here, the person playing as a Brit, is I believe about a 6 or 7 star. He's ranked pretty highly, and he cheats as well, because the rules were no arty, no faction mirrors, just because then the game's very hard to understand and commentate because you can hardly see the difference between flags and stuff. And max 6 lights. Well, he has 5 lights here, and I believe he has another 5 rifleman units as well. But it's fine, because that army is going to be super weak to mine, because I brought tons of cavalry, because I'm playing as France, and France cavalry is amazing. He's also using the Duke of Wellington and a light dragoon. Let's see, he's just got light spam. Some foot. Our other opponent is playing with a very unusual army, most of which, by the way, is hidden in these trees. This is not his whole army. It looks like it could be for sort of a medium-sized army, but it is not. He's got Sipahi cavalry, Chateauneuf camel gunners, Ibrahim Basha, swords, light infantry. He doesn't have any standard infantry, just kind of annoyed with this because he's kind of got a sword spam going on, but it's not like a super sword spam like when I played the other day. I played with a guy the other day, he just had swords, and it was like 2,300 men, and they all had like 4 chevrons. It was just invincible. There's nothing you can do about it. I actually refused to help him because he was on my team. He was my ally. And I refused to help him and let my opponents just gang up and slaughter him, and then went and fought the battle sort of normally. And he actually almost made us lose the battle. But anyway, he's got Salatir guards, and then he has more. I think he has Delhi horsemen. He has more swords. He has more light infantry in there. But either way, I'm now going to speed this battle up. My ally is where's my ally? My ally's over here. He has, I believe he has about 5 or 6 Prussian Fusiliers. He's got mostly musketeers. He does have a couple of. He's got a life regiment. He's got 2 or 3 foot guards, normal general staff, and then he has very few cavalry, which isn't particularly great because he's fighting swords. But it doesn't really matter because this guy has a ton of cav. So you weren't going to beat his cavalry anyway, because Sipahi cavalry are crazy. Salatir guard are pretty much invincible, backed up by Chateauneuf camel gunners. It's kind of a pain in the arse. So yeah, he has some Tovaxis. I don't know how you pronounce this name, but they're pretty good Lancer cavalry. They're like a special Lancer cavalry. He has a Cuirassier, and I believe he has Brandenburg Uhlans on the other side. So over here, I march up this hill, expecting the British player to come towards me and fight me like an honourable fellow, but oh dear. Spikes. These are all placed by light infantry, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's basically just an absolute ton of spikes everywhere. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, he basically has like 10 to 11 units of light infantry when he said the max was 6. I put the max as 6 when normally people put the max as 4 or 5, because I want people to have a little bit more sort of room in their choices. I didn't want artillery on because, in my opinion, it just promotes camping. My ally was like, oh well, you know, you should leave artillery on because then people can't do this, because you just batter them with artillery shells. But the thing is that the camper's biggest tool is these immobile units like foot and light foot and stuff that don't particularly have to do much movement to damage, as well as artillery, which doesn't have to do much movement to damage. He could have sat the artillery up here from the game and bombarded me, and sure, I could have artillery, but if I was going to attack him, if I was going to force him off the hill, I'd have to have artillery superiority, so I'd be spending more money to do something that really people should do anyway. You should come and fight each other. I mean, for God's sake, this guy has like the most ridiculous army anyway. He's got an absolute ton of units, and let me tell you, he is not a good player. Okay, this player here, he's a 6 or 7 star. Okay, that in Napoleon terms, is very, very high. If you're used to playing Shogun, you won't realise that the ranks here, they're true skill rather than like ranking style. So, you know, if you don't get them, you ain't gonna get them. Like, if you don't win battles, you aren't gonna rank up at all. You're gonna lose rank. So I've got what have I got? I've got about 4 units of Fusiliers of the Line, an Old Guard, a 2 Chevron Polish Legion. I have 2 units of Chasseurs, 2 units of Voltigeurs. Can't really see them because right now I'm just manoeuvring. What I want to do is either squish this army, because it's dangerous but it's also quite squishy. I mean, like, my cavalry can pretty much break this army. I'd probably lose it all, which I'd not like to do because I really want my cavalry if I'm going to win this game. But my cavalry could pretty much just conquer this army completely, because Salati Guard and all these things, I mean, these are probably heavy cavalry, Salatis and Sipahis. But the problem is that cavalry are, you know, it's a 45-man unit. You hit it with a charge from a Lancer unit, it's lost a third of its men. You hit an infantry unit with a charge from a Lancer unit, it's lost 20 men, which is a sixth of its men. So obviously, it's a lot more dangerous to have an army like this full of light infantry and other things that are very vulnerable to cavalry. So yeah, this is just basically going to be skirmishing for a while and manoeuvring. And what I'm going to try and do is draw this opponent off from this hill. Because if we threaten his ally enough, if I keep on moving to threaten the ally, if I keep on moving sort of this direction, he will have to come off. Because otherwise we'll just defeat his ally, and then there'll be 2 great big bloody armies, which will have lost a bit, and will so heavily outnumber this army that no matter where you're camping, you would get fucked. There's nothing that you can do to stop that. So, first of all, he's going to try and capture this building as well, which, to be honest, doesn't really make any sense, because like, it's not like he has a strong melee unit in there, or it doesn't provide very good fire support either. I mean,
this building has fallen to the enemy.
Fire support that way, but I'm not going to advance sort of beyond here because I'm going to try and attract him there. I hate the terrible sound it makes when the infantry go in there and break the windows and stuff, and then you don't even see it. It's a horrible, stupid sound that doesn't make sense. So there's going to be more sort of skirmishing and stuff here. He's combined his lines with his light infantry, just to provide some sort of support to them and cover. And like I said, these guys are not good players, but they have unbelievably strong armies. He's 6 light infantry, I think he has about 4 to 6 Samat Janissaries. Like, that on its own is pretty much enough to beat the entire Prussian player. I mean, no offense to the Prussian player, is pretty good. I like the guy, in fact, I believe I added him on Steam afterwards. But these types of armies, they're extremely overpowered and unfair. But if you know what you're doing, and your opponent is a mug, which I don't like calling it out, but it's true. I mean, for one, this guy never forms up any of his units into light infantry doctrine. Neither does the other guy, even though he has a light infantry based army, and he is a 6 or 7 star general. I mean, that's terrible. I'm a 4-star general in this. I have lost plenty of battles, but I know for a fact that I am incredibly good compared to that guy, and I'm not incredibly good at this game. I'm pretty good, yeah, but I'm not incredibly good. I forgot to list off the rest of my cavalry. Yeah, I got 2 Chevalier Lancer, I got Chasseur Cheval, 2 Cuirassiers, 7th Regiment of Chevalier Lancer, Marshal Sue's my general, and I have another Chasseur Cheval. Basically, I just wanted to fuck with the cav for this game, because people play France a way I don't like, where they get like they get like some cav and then like stupid amounts of old guard and other guard units and stuff, and basically just use voltigeurs as meat shields for old guard, while old guard like run into a position and then just melt units. Personally, I don't like to do that. I don't like to have like lots of guards either. No, in some of my armies, I don't even bring any guards. My normal Prussian army has no guards, and that's my like competitive style army. So here, I see an opportunity because he's been done, and he's lining up his foot with his light foot without using his rifles as support. So I'm just going to skirmish him a little bit, try and force him, confuse him, scare him. You see, he's trying to form up a position now because he's realised that if he sits up there, he's going to get screwed. There's no chance that he can do that. So now I'm going to take the bait. I'm going to fight this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this copse of trees here and these copse of trees here to force my opponent into a bad position. Okay, because that was weird. I had like a weird file drop then. It was very strange. Everything froze for me. I don't know if it froze on the recording or not. So he starts firing on me with his rifles, but that's fine. You know, that's bad, so I'm going to retreat backwards. But it's okay, because I can get better positions and I can screw one of his units. That's all I need to do. I need to be able to break a couple of units and then I can crush him, because cavalry will absolutely crush all these light infantry just as long as they can find a gap. And to do that I have to use my skirmishers properly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of these chasseurs, I'm going to push it up, and I'm going to absorb fire from everything. I'm going to push up to here, because it's right at the centre of his army. But it also drives a wedge, because this building is here, and this copse of trees here, which means you can't really get a good shooting angle. He doesn't have enough normal infantry to cover them, so if anything does come after them, I can just charge it with cavalry, which is what I'm going to do as well. I'm going to put another chasseur up here, trying to provide some fire support. Put a voltigeurs in these trees, try and take out a unit, and then flank the hell out of it. Flank the hell out of it and disorganise it with my cavalry. Hit any units that I feel are most threatening. Now I'm going to skip back to over here because there's a little bit more stuff. You can see the Ottoman player's been quite careful about it, what he's trying to do, right? And I didn't realise this until actually after I watched the recording, because I didn't realise what happens is what happens. But basically, this is a ruse, this battle line. This is not his battle line, okay? This is him trying to pick apart units like these musketeers. Even though he's getting beat in this skirmish here because he's being a dumb and he's not using the rest of his skirmishers, he's not putting them into like infantry doctrine, because sadly he's not a very good player, which is sad because this ends up being quite a close battle, and it's kind of annoying because like we were kidding their ass tactically. Like one of them just sat on a hill and planted stakes everywhere. That was his tactic. It was hill. Oh look, hill, shiny. He's like a freaking crow hill. So over this side, enemy pulls out a dragoon as well as an infantry unit, and I shoot and charge it, and I'm going to eventually waste this unit. Ends up being a really quite a long cavalry battle between these two. Kind of came here late. Forms up into a square. I'm going to keep my 7th Regiment of Lancers around the place. I need to break this unit though. If I can break his one cavalry unit off the field, and now it's gone. I've kept my chasseurs cheval. I mean, they're screwed up, but now I pretty much have an open route. There's nothing that can stop me getting through here, through here, through here, through here. There's so many routes of attack. I mean, there's a route of attack here, perfect. There's a route of attack here. If I can take out a unit or two, there's certainly a route of attack here. This is the best route of attack, especially for heavy cavalry, and this is where my heavy cavalry is going to go. And there's a route of attack here that's completely open. He cannot defend all these sides. He just does not have the firepower to do it. Especially considering that I still have a very strong line corps. Unlike normally for France, I still have a fairly standard number of normal line infantry. 1, 2, 3, 4, as well as an old guard that I'm going to use in the front. I do want to send my Polish Legion around the side, because they're more of a melee unit, they're more of a flanking unit. I'd rather try and keep them alive. The old guard though, they're going to be the ones to clear a building, because frankly I can't be arsed with having this foot unit just sit in a building the whole game. So I'm just going to throw something at them. So here I'm going to throw out my chasseurs, them on meat shields. You can see that loads of firing, and you know, this is the result of friendly fire. Is that these units are already taking casualties. Like I said, this guy's not smart, you know, but he's got an army that is certainly more than able to take mine, purely because it's just completely unfair. I mean, he broke the rules. It's stupid, it sucks, but it happens. So I'm going to throw my Chevalier Lancers around the side. I've got my Voltigeurs here. My Voltigeurs need to break this unit of Lightfoot, okay? They break this unit of Lightfoot, damage anything else, and I have an opportunity to push up my infantry through here. My cavalry is going to break the rifles on the other side, and that just completely opens up this side. And I can do that because this Lightfoot is just out in the open in a line formation, whilst 2 Voltigeurs shoot in from the forest. Voltigeurs aren't exactly amazing, but they'll do the job. So over here I'm getting prepared for my big cavalry attack. I know this is where I'm going to attack from. I'm using my chasseurs in this forest. You can't even see their bloody flag because they're just sort of hidden from view. But there's a couple of units here. It's a Lightfoot and a Rifles unit, I believe. So I'm going to use them as a distraction. I'm keeping the rest of my forces. I'm keeping my line infantry at bay until I absolutely need them, and now is when I'm pushing them up. I'm going to push this Fusilier at the line round the side. My cavalry's hit his side units. I've got to be very careful with how I do my charge. I have to get one cavalry all the way round here to hit his rifles units, but pretty much both of these rifles are going to go down. I believe one of them actually makes it out, purely because this foot unit sort of zooms in the side a little bit. You can see it's in square formation there, so it's going to shoot it a little bit, which kind of sucks, but I'm just holding down this flank. It means that this can't attack and take out my voltigeurs, one of which just got veterancy. I believe both of the voltigeurs end up getting a chevron of veterancy, which is quite funny, really. Here's my other chance for flanking here. I'm moving my chasseur cheval through there. Now I've moved up my Lancers first, the 7th Regiment of Lancers.
Our men
I'd
are
rather
running,
them
sir.
take the casualties than my heavy cavalry. The heavy cavalry are going to take quite big casualties just because there's so many units in the area firing. And I believe he ends up getting like another foot unit firing at them or something. But yeah, I come out of the forest here. I'm going to try and disorganise and just attack anything. I don't care what I'm attacking. The Chasseur Cheval. I meant to attack the Duke of Wellington. I believe I just shot him a little bit and then he charged me, which kind of works in his favour. So you can see the rifles unit just sort of got out without dying. The 7th Regiment, no, it's not 7th Regiment, it's just a normal Chevalier Lancer is going to charge. I'm going to try and take out the Duke of Wellington. I'm throwing my Chevalier Lancers, I'm throwing my heavy cav into the midst, and soon my line's going to go up. Still, my chasseurs are still taking the fire from the enemy.
Our men are running,
my line
sir.
infantry is virtually intact, but now is when I realise what the enemy's true plan over here was, because the Prussian player, who looked like he had a much more extended line, tried to attack with foot guards through the forest, and he just got eaten by Janissaries, pretty much. I mean, foot guards are good in melee. Janissaries are... They're overpowered. For their cost, they are completely unfair, frankly. I mean, yeah, sure. Like everything in the game, there is a counter, but a counter shouldn't have to cost like so much more. Like, you have to hit them with freaking Grenadier Cheval to actually break them, and that's from like behind and the side and stuff. So here I kind of make a mistake as well. I'm running my cuirassiers really around too much, where I should just get them all back, wait, and then come back to finish off the rest of the army. Now my opponent's got a weak centre. I've broken so many units here, so many of these weaker units, these Lightfoot just aren't going to be able to cope. Cuirassier just kick the crap out of them, and for some reason this Cuirassier attacks this foot unit in square, even though I clicked it to attack this Lightfoot unit. And I'm going to end up screwing it over when I should have really have just killed this Lightfoot here and now, because all of these should have attacked that, which is what I clicked. But
our men are running, sir.
This gives me opportunity to charge up and attack here. I noticed that this building is actually getting some pretty good fire support on these Fusiliers, so I'm going to charge my Old Guard into there soon. I have my Polish Legion and my remaining Chasseur. Then I'm going to move them up to here just to take out this foot unit, because the only other things that are in the area is Cuirassiers, who... I mean, Cuirassiers are pretty good, but that's a square. I ain't going to do that.
Sir, our general is under
attack.
attack.
Skirmishers and a Polish Legion will more than easily do that. So here, my voltigeurs, you can see, they've both managed to get veterancy. They've both done huge damage from that forest. They've broken through a corner of the enemy. Well, another corner's been broken. That's isolated the centre, allowed me to flank it on all sides, whilst other units have just been destroyed basically by the just huge numbers of cavalry. Cavalry versus light infantry hurts. Speaking of which, here's some cuirassiers stabbing a load of light infantry, and then pretty much insta-routing.
Our men are running, sir!
And I should have pulled them back really, and then charged later, but it didn't matter. I'd won this battle. Over here, I got into a position of fire. Polish Legion and the Chasseurs are just going to wail on these foot. The foot have no chance in that case. Old Guard as well are going into the building now, and they're going to take out the foot. The battle actually starts at first to look like it's going to go in his favour, but it's going to go behind. So now I have to come and assist my teammate. The British player is going to keep on moving units back. He's got this foot unit over here. I believe he's going to manage to get that light foot out, and I think this unit might come back from routing or something. I can't quite remember now. I'm getting a message there from someone telling them he's done because he wants me to play Dota 2, even though I played like 6 games. I'm terrible. But it doesn't matter. Right now I just want to finish this video off. So here you can see the skirmishing's actually been going well for him because he just has more units available. He can cover more ground because some of his units are just ridiculously dangerous. He's used light cavalry, he's ambushed him on the side, killed off some pretty substantial forces. So now the Prussian player isn't a serious threat. He doesn't have enough forces to take this. And really, in reality, the Turkish player should just charge now. He needs to get his Samats in, he needs to crush what's remaining of this. Luckily for us, he doesn't. Because frankly, my force is kind of... my line infantry up and my skirmishers are beat up and I don't have any cavalry left. So, fighting this could be difficult if he manages to get it all out. Remember, he still has a load of units hidden, I believe. So, this isn't over yet. The balance bar is in our favour. But we're split up and I have... enemy units that are going to try and hold me off. I know for a fact there are Samats here. He actually warns me when it comes to him. So I have to chase down these units of foot that are running away. So otherwise they're just going to harass me from behind later on. Now luckily, I don't have to worry too much about being harassed because I have Polish Legion, Chasseurs and Old Guard that are going to be behind my army. And I mean, you see how annoying it is. Like somebody put a foot unit there and they took an Old Guard down to 76 men. That's crazy. Old Guard, the most powerful unit in the game. Certainly line infantry wise. I mean, obviously like the most powerful skirmishers in the game can beat the line infantry, just it's situational, whereas a line infantryman can pretty much always charge stuff like that, so yeah. So these rifles plus the Nizami light infantry are just flanking round. You can see he's run out of skirmishers pretty much here. He does have Prussian Fusiliers, but he can't cover every flank. That's the thing. And that's what I'm saying, this, I mean, like the Ottoman player, he should have attacked, he should have beaten this. He had the army to beat this. This is... it's sad to see that he wasn't able to beat this. Like I said, no offense to this player, it's not his fault, okay? He has an overpowered army because he has units that are generally unfair. Nizami Sedi light infantry, not Nizami Sedi light infantry, Janissary, Samat Janissaries are just an unfair unit. So I'm going to speed things up a little bit here. This is basically, a lot of this is reformation, as well as me trying to get rid of this last unit of foot and attract enemy units out of this forest so I can hit them with skirmishers. Over here, my opponent's going to move up some Nizami Sedi light infantry. Looks like he's finally decided to use skirmish formation. I don't know why it took him so long. It honestly makes no sense, but it did take him so long. So this is basically just a holding force because he needs to fight and kill this player first. So you can see he's using the rifles to attract these units in. He's trying to do damage to the Prussian Fusiliers. He's ambushed these Prussian Fusiliers here with some Shatterknuckles from the side. Really, he should have just charged then, but he doesn't. And now that he's moved off this hill, now is the real danger, because these Samat Janissaries have just come out of the forest and they are going to go for him. This was what I was worried were going to come after me and slow down my advance.
The men are fatigued, sir.
It's far worse. They're going after the Prussian player, who is absolutely stuck in a corner. If you look on the map, in the mini-map, you can see that he's absolutely stuck in a corner right now. And there doesn't look very much hope out of it. And some Sipahis come in, they hit his light infantry, his Fusiliers, as they're coming in. Musketeer here forms into square, does manage to stop the Salate Guard, but you can see it's pretty much breaking this square. It's going to lose its integrity soon and it's not going to be able to hold properly against cavalry. And then worse, the Samat Janissaries come in and they're just going to clean house. You see how dusty it gets. Jesus, this game gets dusty. The foot guards here firing on the Chateau camel gunners because this guy's not very good. He should have his light infantry here. He should be firing onto the sides of these, but he's not. He has managed to hit them in the back with the Salutier guard. He's quite good with cavalry, I guess, but he should have had these. He's terrible with the skirmishes. Really quite terrible. A lot of people like nowadays seem to be quite terrible with their skirmishes and such. And now I've spread my lines out. You can see I'm keeping them very spread out. I have a battle formation that I'm going to use. I'm going to use skirmishes with line infantry behind. I've got skirmishes here with line infantry behind, and then I'm going to have my old guard on top. I'm going to use multiple waves of each unit, so that anything that gets charged can be supported by anything else, because the Samat Janissaries are my biggest fear right now. My old guard could probably beat one of them. He has a lot more. And you can see here, here's one of the square formations just being broken by cavalry. People don't realise that this can happen. If you hit the square formation right, at the right speed and stuff, I believe you actually have to be a lower speed, so that you don't sort of charge into the bayonets too fast. If you hit it at a lower speed, then you can break the square formation. Luckily he manages to rout the camel gunners before they can do enough damage. And here, luckily, the Prussian player is managing to get units out. He's managed to hold off this enemy. He's managed to hold off these Janissary units. These Janissaries are kicking the crap out of his musketeers, but he has managed to hold off, and he's getting his foot guards away as well. The Janissaries aren't going to catch them. They're both pretty much just as fast. The Janissaries are ultra tired as well, which is good. We need them to be as tired as possible so that we can kill them. But now it looks like the end game. The Turkish player has taken too many units to try and kill what was a very, very small Prussian force. He's messed up his attacks,
the men are fatigued,
and now
sir,
we're reforming.
and must
now
rest
we're going
a
to try
while.
and attack. Now we're going to push up. I'm going to push up my Polish Legion, and they're the ones who are going to finish this. They're going to get volleys into the Samat Janissaries just enough to mean that the foot guards can beat them. As well as this, the foot guard is going to take a volley as well. We're just trying to whittle down these units, break them apart from each other, because they're nice and squishy. Samat Janissaries can be beaten on their own, but as part of an integral army like this, with 6 light infantry to back them up and a ton of cavalry, there's nothing you can do, because you'll get skirmished into the ground, then you'll have no possibility of making a double line, or a triple line, like you really need to. You can't spread out your forces properly, and then the Samat Janissaries come in and they just waltz through. It's very, very cheap as well. They'll also have cavalry superiority, because these are cheaper. Elizabeth City light infantry are slightly more expensive, but not enough to make up for the ridiculously low cost of these units. So that he's at this position it just shows how bad he is at skirmishing, really, because skirmishing is what he needs to do to allow these Samat Janissaries to do so much damage. He's not managed to do that. He is using his rifles here, but you can see we've got the multiple lines. All of these units can fire on this one unit, even though they're all in a compact space. He's running away anything that's going to get charged until the point where he thinks he can beat them in melee. See, I'm going to get my Polish Legion to fire a volley now. And this is going to reduce, so you can see it's a red morale now, and I believe now is when he's going to charge. No, he can't charge because he gets charged by the general, which is interesting. It's probably a good move. It's kind of desperate as well. It shows the shows how desperate you are. Here, though, I'm going to flank here with my chasseurs. I know chasseurs being useful the entire game, that hardly ever happens because chasseurs suck. They are not very good light infantry. They are very, very average. But luckily, I get them onto the flank, and they're going to take some volleys into these Nisivicity light infantry. The enemy is now pretty much out of units. The Prussian Fusiliers of all units chase down and attack the Janissaries. And now I'm just going to go for a last-ditch charge with the Polish Legion. And I believe just the fact that they're being charged and they get near to them is actually going to rout this last unit. It might be about morale losses as well. You get like a big morale loss buff for having like only 1 or 2 units left out of a certain number that you started with or something, and being under fire. They pop the veterancy, which would normally refresh your morale, but that's not going to help with a load of angry Polish people in very, very silly square hats charging you. So yeah, that was an interesting little game. I just wanted to show you how you can beat somebody who's hill camping, and how you can beat somebody who's using overpowered units sort of in one game, and with an army that most people would not use as well, that they would feel that it's not very strong because it's not a typical French army. You can see my kills weren't particularly high because basically the first army was routed off the field. That was how I did that. I hit it with morale shots from cavalry. They hit hard, I hit them all hard at once, and I killed the Duke of Wellington as well. Killing the Duke of Wellington pretty much means that any army is going to rout. So when you use something like your Duke of Wellington, you want to use him from a defensive position. It's how he did it in real life anyway. He was very much a defensive general. So thanks for watching, GG, to my allies and to my opponents, even though one of them cheated, Mr. Adami XXW. That name makes no sense. Oh well. GG, goodbye.